Hi, everyone. Welcome to NiceTalk, the crypto show by NiceHash, where we feature expert commentary from around the industry. And my name is Joe. I'm Chief Marketing Officer at NiceHash. Joining me is Marko, our Product Manager of Mining. And we're very happy to welcome today our special guest, Jason Brink, President of Blockchain at Gala Games. So we're really excited to have you on board today and look forward to learning more about it.
Super happy to be here to talk to you guys. I've been a fan of NiceHash for some time, so guys are doing
Awesome.
some cool
Great to hear.
stuff.
So maybe you want to start off just by introducing yourself and telling us a bit about what you do.
Sure, I'd be more than happy to. So as Joe said, my name is Jason Brink. A lot of people in the space know me as Bitbender. I've been in blockchain since 2012, 2013. Originally looking at blockchain sort of from the perspective of how can we use this new technology, this new area of innovation to help improve the quality of life for those who are in on the sort of bottom end of the poverty spectrum. Originally looking at it specifically for how can we use blockchain to fix some of the problems that are endemic to foreign aid. Um, Spent some time doing disaster relief work and things like that, and realized that uh, as important as that sort of work is, that specific thing can't be done without the help of NGOs and governments. And generally speaking, NGOs and governments are way too slow and way too risk averse to, actually make an impact by bringing in absolutely bleeding edge technology. And so that's where I sort of got into gaming and finding ways to use gaming and rethinking what work actually means to help those on the lower end of the spectrum as well. And so at Gala Games, we are pioneering in play and earn gaming as well as play to own gaming. And super happy to be here to talk to you guys.
Cool.
Awesome. That's very interesting. Going from there to gaming, it's quite an interesting path.
It's been an interesting thing. I mean, it's like you sort of start, um, from the perspective of looking at how do you really make a difference, right? Like, for example, I was in Haiti post earthquake, and they there was tremendous amounts of aid flowing into the country, but none of it was actually getting to the people that needed it the most because it was always sort of being like siphoned off, right? Um, and please forgive me if there's some background noise. Apparently, somebody needed to drill a big hole in something nearby. Um,
Don't worry, we
it,
don't hear it. Be
Wonderful, because
silent.
it's rattling the hell out of my office right now. So I'm amazed that you guys aren't hearing it. But then going from sort of that uh, policy level, like how do we create this really big thing, to how do we make a game that people can play and they end up owning something? That's a really really big shift. But what is interesting about it is that you find that via the sort of playing side of things, you can actually make a much bigger difference. So it's pretty cool.
Fair enough. Yeah. So yeah, maybe you can tell us a bit more about Gala. So what exactly is Gala for someone who's never heard of it? How would you describe it?
Sure. So Gala Games was founded by Eric Schiermeyer. Eric Schiermeyer was one of the co-founders of Zynga, and we have, since the very very beginning of this, I was there during the initial early stages as well, although it wasn't really officially involved at that time. um, the whole idea is that in the gaming space, okay, there are people who have spent tons and tons and tons of money buying things in game. Okay, if you've played any game, you've paid for DLCs, you've paid for skins, you've paid for all of these different things. Um, and you get nothing for it, and you can't trade it, and you can't send it to your friend, and you can't sell it, and it's just you're just pouring money down a tube. And we obviously don't like that all that much. So what we did is we started looking at it from the perspective of like, okay, well, how do we actually give people ownership of their in-game assets? And blockchain is the fairly obvious answer to that question, because it allows the creation of things, and in a decentralized fashion, and the allowing users to essentially custody their own stuff. So if you buy a skin in Spider Tanks, it's yours. You do whatever you want with it. We can't stop you, and that we believe is a very, very important thing. When I joined a couple years ago now, actually, it's kind of funny. Like time in COVID times doesn't really work the same way as time before COVID. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, I joined. I was employee number 8, and we're up over employee 300 now, and we're growing like crazy. We've got 22 different games in the pipeline to come to the platform, all heavy duty AAA,
Crazy,
really, really
crazy.
high quality stuff. So yeah, I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, super crazy to hear you have over 300 employees. That's a lot. Yeah, congrats.
It's a
Congrats.
lot. It's definitely a
Yeah.
lot.
So can you tell us how does Gala Games work? For example, what are nodes? I of course went to your website. I did a little bit of research. I tried that town game. Uh,
Okay,
yeah, how does Gala Games work? What are
sure.
nodes?
Sure. So everything that happens in the entire ecosystem, okay, we believe very fundamentally in the powers of decentralization. Okay, with the acknowledgement that decentralization is a spectrum, and oftentimes when you're building something, you start more centralized to stand up services that work, and then you decentralize them over time. This is essentially what the node network exists to do. One of the critical components that Gala has is a governance system that is set up, that is run by the node network. And what the node network has the ability to do is it gives permission essentially for games to come to the ecosystem. The NFTs that are used in these games are supported by the node network, and in certain instances, work is performed by the node network to support the function of these games. As Gala Chain rolls out, for example, these nodes are going to be confirming transactions, and ordering transactions as they move through the ecosystem. That's an absolutely critical job that has to be done by somebody, and we set it up so that it's done by the nodes, those who have taken an interest in the ecosystem as a whole.
Those are like master nodes,
You could
or
think of them as master nodes. That's in the blockchain space, as you guys know. There's a lot of use and misuse of various types of terminology.
yeah.
So we essentially work in the large. At the end of the day, the large scale ecosystem that stands up is going to be proof of delegated authority. Okay, so it's not a proof of stake system where you're putting tokens up, and those tokens are acting as the resource of scarcity in the network. Um, when you purchase a node, you're purchasing a software license. You run that software license; it contributes to the overall health and stability of the network. It hosts content via our DCDN, which runs via IPFS, and we work very closely with Protocol Labs on building out that and making it very, very robust. Um, and then those nodes, yeah, they essentially support the entire ecosystem. So everything is based on them, but they're not like a collateralized node like you might think for some few other things.
Mhm. That makes sense. So, what would be the requirements for running a node if you wanted to run one?
Sure. So right now, the requirements are fairly light. They're not like $5 bullshit VPS light. You actually have to run them on a system with some specifications, but they're still quite light. Any sort of uh, computer that you have at home would be able to run a node. We feel that that's very important. That the health and stability of the ecosystem should not depend just on people who have massive, mining concerns. And it also shouldn't be just on people who have the ability to, yeet a bunch of nodes up into, a VPS cluster or something like that.
Mhm.
We want to see the most broadly distributed network possible, geographically and, hardware wise.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with Flux network. They basically provide servers, decentralized servers, but and so Gala nodes are not servers. They're like they're not. You cannot earn from nodes, or you can.
You can earn from nodes, but they're not servers in they're not servers. They're software that can run on a server,
Okay.
and they do serve content. It, you know,
Okay. Yeah.
uh,
That's what I'm interested. Is the
yes,
actual content saved on that nodes, or
yes,
is are
yes, it is.
yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right now, we also mirror that content, centrally as well, because it's easier for us to pull from it functionally on our own platform. But it definitely hosts content, and if you're running a node or you're accessing that content, it will pull from the best node near you to get that content.
Yeah. And what is that content? Can you be more specific?
Sure. Right now, that content is essentially everything that exists on our network in terms of NFTs, metadata, images, things like that. In the long run, that content is going to be a lot heavier. It could be, game state data. It could be, upgrade data for specific NFTs, things like that. Right now, that's what it is, though.
Okay. So what's the total size of this?
I don't
You know,
actually know. I
I
don't
mean, is
actually
it
know
in
what that is.
gigabytes? Is it in terabytes?
Right now, it's probably in the gigabytes. Although, as we recently unveiled the Gala Music ecosystem, and in the short term, some of that content is also on the Node system, and so that's heavier content, obviously, because it's
Yeah.
audio content. It's not just you know a picture, but it's not insanely massive at this point. I believe we're also serving a lot of Townstar content, and Node content itself. So when you run the node, a lot of the actual data, like the images that you see in the Node interface, all of that is coming from that decentralized network as well.
How many nodes do you have? Or do you on the network?
Right now, I believe there's about 25,000, 26,000, something like that running. I don't know the specific number today because it fluctuates day by day as nodes come
Yeah.
online and fall off and stuff. But yeah, it's somewhere in that neighborhood.
Quite a lot. What about smart contracts? I mean, smart contracts in terms of you have token on Ethereum,
Right.
Binance Network, and Solana, I
Uh,
suppose.
we
I
we
think so.
we don't have a well. Okay, so here,
Yeah.
this is one of the beauties of decentralization. Um, we have our official contract for Gala itself, is an ERC 20 on Ethereum.
Okay.
We have also worked with P Network to get a bridge to BSC chain, okay, which I believe is what they're calling it now, um, or BNB chain. I think they changed it to BNB chain, the Binance chain. You guys know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so we worked with P Network to build that bridge over there. We have not worked with anybody to set up a Solana bridge. Um,
Yeah.
if one exists, it has nothing to do with us. That does not necessarily mean that one doesn't exist. It's just we're not aware of it, and it is not a quote unquote official bridge. But people can bridge whatever to wherever, and that's sort of again the beauty of decentralization.
Uh, um,
Yeah.
so yeah, George is gone.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so in between all the network of this, how do you handle the transaction fees between if you have these different chains
Right
going on?
now, transaction fees, I mean, it depends on what we're talking about, right? If you're transacting on Ethereum, the end user is the one that is paying those transaction fees. So if you want to send one of your NFTs somewhere, uh, that's you're paying that fee. In terms of in-game transactions, we do not use Ethereum for in-game transactions. You can purchase NFTs from our store in Gala, but that game state data does not go on Ethereum because, to be honest, it would break Ethereum. So what we're doing, and this is one of the critical components of, having we're the Project Geary is what we're currently calling it, and it is a deliberately awful name so that we can pick a new one. Is currently it exists just for that purpose, and it's essentially the first blockchain that has been uh, developed by actual game developers for the purposes of building a blockchain at scale that can handle massive, massive, massive transaction loads and specific game data.
Cool.
Nice.
Is there gonna be like a token for that blockchain, or
In man, you're trying to get alpha things are there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. So what will
yeah?
likely happen, okay, and this is in no way, shape, or form a promise, but what will
Okay.
likely happen is uh, those who have an active interest in the ecosystem, okay, be that having nodes, potentially doing things like holding tokens. There may be a locking mechanism that is part of this, would receive the governance token for that larger chain ecosystem. We essentially want to create something that, how do I put this? We want to create something that is absolutely decentralized at the end of the day, and it is difficult to do that if it has your own name on it, which is why we're not calling this Gala chain, because if it's Gala chain, then it's not really like
Yeah.
the perception would be that it's not decentralized. However, it's called
Yeah.
something else, then it makes it a lot easier to kind of get to that point. And the reason that
Exactly the same. If there would be like the Satoshi would be known guy, then
it,
he would be. Yeah,
exactly,
Mm.
I get.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so as we set things up like that, I mean, we're doing this for a couple reasons. I mean, the first is that we don't want, let's say somebody builds a game that's a crappy game and they put it on a decentralized ecosystem, okay, and it's a fully decentralized ecosystem where everybody has a role in that ecosystem, and the governance of that ecosystem, like Ethereum, for example. And then the person who makes this terrible game rugs everybody. We don't want to have that be, stuck to something that has our name. Do you know what I mean? We would much rather it be something that is, decentralized, so that it can govern itself, and we simply use it to perform, the tasks as we need to.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. So let's talk a little bit more about the actual games. Can you tell us
Sure.
what is the main difference between blockchain games and off-chain games?
Sure. So for me, the primary difference between sort of, we'll call it blockchain gaming and quote unquote conventional gaming, okay, is the concept of ownership, okay, and your freedom to do as you choose with your assets in those games. Um, everybody here has been a gamer forever, right? Like, what was the first game that you guys remember playing?
For me, it
Uh,
was Lemmings.
Lemmings, nice,
Yeah,
deep cut. Little
I
little
think.
little blue-haired bastards blowing
yeah,
up
yeah.
all over the screen when you get to the end.
I think mine was Serious Sam. If you know the game.
I do know Serious Sam. You are
Yeah.
significantly younger than me, I think.
Yeah, I am. I probably am. It was my older brothers, so
there you go.
I got like a couple of minutes of it.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But you guys remember, like, back in those days, Serious Sam. I want to say that was an original PlayStation game. What did
I'm not sure. I played it on PC.
a PC? Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But like I remember back in the early days when you would have a game, you'd get to do like the click 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 thing, and you're starting up Zelda, and you're uh, get everything plugged in. You have the cables going to the front of the TV, and like you actually held the game in your hand, right? And that was such a cool experience, and there was an absolute definite feeling of ownership, right? This is my game. Why is it my game? Because I own this game and I can do whatever I want with it, right? And then cloud-based gaming came along. People started playing. Steam happened, right? I think the first time I installed a game from Steam, which was Half-Life 2, I believe. Okay, I first installed it and I was like, "What? Where's the box? Like where's the box? How do I own this?" Because I had all the rest of my games in my shelf, like in the boxes all lined up, right? The big old style boxes, and then like the smaller ones that were like the size of a VHS tape for all of the people who are old enough to remember what the hell a VHS tape is. And it was like this feeling of like ownership, like this is my stuff. And then you install something digitally for the first time, and you're just like, well, where's the game? I don't understand. Where's the game? And then we got used to that because it's super convenient, right? But at the end of the day, you don't own the game. You can't put it in your backpack and take it to school and swap it with your buddy. Okay, you can't do anything. You just have to like believe in the server, and have play it on your own Steam account. And if you buy something in that game or you win something in that game, you can't send it to anybody else. Like in very, very rare circumstances is that possible, right? And so this is sort of, for me, the big differentiating factor, because if you play one of our games, like recently there's a game called Grit that we announced, okay, and it's essentially it's a battle royale game. Think of it as a mix between Red Dead Redemption, okay, and PUBG. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
like this insane, crazy horseback riding, gunslinging, awesome game. Okay, where you actually get to own stuff. You can own upgrades for your guns. You can own, different characters. You can own horses. You can own, all of this different stuff, and it's yours. And if you want to send it to somebody else, you can. Once it's yours, once you've earned it in game or bought it, it's completely yours.
Where is it saved? Like, do you need your own wallet, or
Yeah,
is it
it's
on
saved in
the
a wallet.
account?
It's saved in a wallet.
So when I create an account, I get a new wallet,
Yeah.
or how does that part work? Maybe you can
Yeah,
explain us more
you
about
you
this.
you
Yeah.
essentially, right now, the way that it works, and I will fully admit to this being clunky as hell and definitely something that I'd like to change. But right now, you go through a wallet creation process. One of the things I was literally just talking about this morning is transitioning to a more Web3 sort of native process, where it's not, you don't have to create a wallet because you will already have your wallet and you're just connecting to the site. That's what I would like to see. But right now, you create an account, then you go through the wallet creation process. It gives you a key phrase, so on and so forth,
Okay.
that
So
process.
so you would want to have something like with MetaMask?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would much rather something like that.
Yeah.
Plus, if you have something that's fully Web3 native, you can access all sorts of other single sign-on options as well that people would like to use, that are based on other services outside of our own.
Yeah, it would be cool to use Ledger on your gaming platform and
Yes,
sign,
yes, I
yeah,
would
for example,
really,
or
really like that. I would really, really like that.
yeah.
The downside of Ledger and things like that is occasionally, um, you have to give allowances for use of tokens in game. Especially if you're going to be purchasing, various things, and those allowances, if you're having to bust out the ledger, the Trezor, and connect it and sign in, and it becomes kind of high friction at a certain point. which is something we generally want to avoid. But I do understand, the hows and the whys of it.
Yeah.
You want to have it like you were saying earlier, like you put a game in your backpack and you can just swap it with your friend.
Yep,
The same
I
kind of
would
thing,
love
but
that.
yeah.
Yeah, that's good, cool principle. Apart from NFTs, what makes a blockchain game a blockchain game? So I suppose there could be like a decentralized servers. Is there anything else that makes a game more blockchain game? Apart from, for example, I imagine like if you know World of Warcraft, I play
Of
that
course, of
a
course.
lot. Yeah, so I play that a lot, and I can imagine having servers on like decentralized
Yep,
servers, and on top of that you have your mounts as an NFT, for example.
correct.
What else could be used? Give us some like use case of blockchain game.
Well, there's a few different things. Let's say, for example, that you're going into a dungeon. Okay.
Okay.
Now, one of the things in World of Warcraft that was um, got a little bit grindy after a while is it became really easy to know what the hell was coming next, right? Let's say
Yeah,
you enter this dungeon. It's the same dungeon for everybody. You've got one guy whose job it is literally to just guide people through the damn dungeon. Yeah, okay, there's going to be 3 mobs up here. There's going to be 4 heal here. Watch
yeah,
out for the trap, and it's all sort of the same shit, right?
yeah.
Well, what would it be like if you had a series of computers all over the world that were creating new instances that were procedurally generated? So every time you go into a dungeon, it's something new, right? That's something that could be done in a decentralized fashion. I mean, that could be done in a centralized fashion too, but in this case, you set it up so that the entire ecosystem has a role in it. The other thing that I think is super important, and this isn't so much a technological layer as it is a philosophical one, and it's the how the games are made. Okay, when you and if you're a member of our Discord, which I enjoy everybody who watches this to go join at galagames.chat. It's a very different Discord than anyone you've ever experienced, I promise you that. um, if you are if you're joining Discord, you're going to see that there's on a very regular basis tons of us in there, okay? Both game developers and blockchain people and everything from the company that are there actively engaging with the community, okay? And saying, look, here's this really, really cool thing that we think is super neat. What do you guys think? And then letting the entire community feed into it. One of the things we don't do is we don't lock ourselves into game decisions being made that way, because the general population are not game developers. Game developers are game developers, and they need to develop their game in the particular way that game needs to be developed. And a massive recipe for failure is to give people the ability to have it developed however they want, but we definitely want to get people's sentiment and their feelings. And that sort of soft guidance that comes from the community is something that's super important. And I feel something that is particularly blockchain.
Yeah, the blockchain definitely has that community
Right.
feeling.
And that's
It's
not
always.
how, normal games aren't built that way.
Yeah, I imagine if like a game would get very popular, like one of your game developers would get really big. If I hope that would stay, that part is I think it's very important to get
Well,
user feedback, because you always have these big companies who just forget about the initial users.
yes, it's terrible.
Blizzard. Yeah,
It's terrible. And this is so this is one of the things that we are doing, and this is why we talk to people so much, because for us it's so important to make sure that people are on board with what we're doing. And so we run stuff by people all the time. It's pretty cool.
cool.
So if you're getting into your games, what do you need to enter the platform? So you mentioned you have a wallet when you set up. What else do you need in terms of knowledge or even in terms of
No,
hardware
nothing.
to get
That's it.
going?
We want this to be put it this way. Blockchain gaming right now, generally speaking, is a remarkably immature. business. Okay, there's very few people who are developing like games that are suitable for the mass market. Okay, and a large part of that is just the additional friction that blockchain causes, which we're definitely going to be overcoming here pretty soon. Um, but for us, that's a really, really finding a way to overcome these barriers is super, super, super important. Um, so yeah, that's a definitely a direction in which we're working, and it's one of the things that I'm sorry, I totally lost the thread of the question because the guy drilling, like he's literally right underneath me. You guys
Yeah.
seriously can't hear that?
No, no.
Oh
I
my
think
god,
that's
it's amazing. I'm just like, oh, what's happening? It's like having a dentist in my head while I'm trying to talk. So what was your specific question? I apologize.
Yeah, it was about
He
what do you
stopped
need to get
drilling now.
started? Yeah, what do you
Oh
need
yeah,
to
what do
get
you need to get
started?
started?
Yeah,
Nothing.
yeah.
Nothing. We don't
yeah.
want you to have anything to get started. We would like you to be able to come in and play without having any specific knowledge. We don't need you to know what blockchain is. I mean, back when you guys were younger, you did LAN parties, right? You ever do a LAN party?
I'm too young.
Too
I'm too young.
young, Marko. How old are you, Marko?
I will be 26.
Oh my God, Joe, did you ever do a
Yeah.
LAN party?
No,
I do know what they
I'm
are.
afraid
So
not.
I am
yeah.
so sad right now. I am so sad and old. Look at
Yeah.
this gray in my beard. This is terrible. Um, well, okay, you know what a LAN party is. For those of you who don't know what a LAN party is it's when you take your computer and you take it to somebody's house and you plug it in
Yeah, of
and you
course.
have cables going all over the place. And things had to be plugged in, and you set everything up, and you connect with TCP/IP across some like busted ass old switch that somebody spilled Mountain Dew Code Red in, and that's how you play games, right? But the thing is that you're doing all of that with TCP/IP. Okay, was the standard protocol that you have to learn how to monkey with as you set your system up. But it's and TCP/IP is still the backbone of the entire internet. It's just that
Yeah,
nobody knows it.
Yeah.
Nobody knows that you need to have all of these things that function for the internet to work, because today, if you wanted to connect via TCP/IP, you open whatever the game that you want to play and you click join match and done, you're in.
Yeah.
We want blockchain to get to that point too.
Yeah, everything is made simple. That's actually what NiceHash aims to be. Mining is very hard, and
Correct.
for NiceHash, we want to make mining accessible to the masses. So yeah,
Right.
that's the
Exactly.
same principle. Yeah.
So
Mm,
there you go. Very, very philosophically aligned there.
yeah.
yeah.
uh, what makes you different from other blockchain game? Like there's the sandbox. What's the difference? So I suppose you want to develop some kind of, as you said, the backbone
Please don't say
for the
metaverse.
for the
Please. Okay.
what?
Back. It's just like, please don't say metaverse, please.
No, no, no. Uh,
um,
yeah, I have a feeling Gala Games is supposed to be like a backbone, like the
yeah,
infrastructure.
yeah. We
Yeah,
we want to, at the end of the day, be a platform. Like it's similar. You can look at our development trajectory as being similar to that of Steam's. At the very, very beginning, Steam, they started out as their own studio, right? Valve made games, and that's what they did. And then they realized they needed a distribution platform, and there wasn't a distribution platform that actually worked. And I've never heard Gabe talk about this, but I imagine that back in the early days, he got very frustrated with the idea of having to distribute games through Walmart, and
yeah,
he's like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And then Steam was born, and this is what we're doing, but with blockchain games. So we, in the long term, definitely want to have a platform play. But to answer the question, what differentiates us from the sandbox or from any of these other blockchain game creators? is that we're bringing actual AAA quality gaming to the space. Okay. And that's a really, really big difference. And there is nothing, and please do not take this in any way, shape, or form as being a disparaging comment towards any of the other innovators in the space. Because, you look at Sandbox and you look at Axie and you look at all of these things, and they're great for what they are. But Axie is a 3v3 battler. It's a game. It is a singular game, and the Sandbox is a area where people can create and make their own little worlds that are voxel based. That's cool. I would not go so far as to say that it is a game. It may be a game creation environment, but it by itself isn't, a full on game, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
We make games. We bring games into the world. We work with, studios that make the games like, Halo. We're working with Certain Affinity down in Austin. We're working with Ember Entertainment. They're making the Walking Dead Empires game. These are people who have. Oh, dude, you should see the playtests. You should see the playtests. Like we haven't released any of the playtests yet, but it's so crazy. It is so fun. The base building mechanism in there is like. Did you ever play The Sims?
Sims?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like when you build a house in The Sims, you're like building your walls and sticking your own furniture in there, and it's like your own little place, right? It's like that,
Yeah.
but with zombie defenses.
Well, that's something my girlfriend's gonna love then.
It's crazy. It's
She
so
loves
fun.
Sims and she loves The Walking Dead. So
Yeah,
Perfect.
no, it's really cool. And so yeah, I'm super excited about that. But that's the thing is that these are all games being produced by teams that have. I mean, we're talking substantial game teams. I mean, not like two guys in a garage, but like a real team with a cumulative hundreds of years of game experience between all of them. And that makes a difference because they make amazing games.
Yeah.
yeah, the other day we had Flux on the show, and they also provide like infrastructure for the Web3. I think that Gala Games is doing pretty similar stuff, but for the games. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good to have for the future,
For sure.
because at first you need the foundation, then you can build upwards. And I'm really looking forward for the project.
I love it, man. I love what we're doing. It's really great to. Well, I used to say, to get up and go to work, but I don't go to work anymore. We've built the entire company fully remotely, so it's kind of like get up and go down the hall every day and be able to do something that doesn't feel like work, just because it's so damn much fun.
Yeah, awesome. So you're talking about all the external developers you have and a lot of great teams working with you. So how can external developers get started with you guys?
Well, the best way to get started with us is to join our Discord. Okay. If you have a game that you would like to pitch, okay, to us, we are available. We have funding. We're happy to fund games that want to come to the platform. We've got a very substantial developer fund that we can deploy to help bring games to into the right space. Once you're in that Discord, you begin chatting with us. We're pretty open to stuff being shared so that we can have nice conversations about it with everybody there. And it's pretty cool. Once you're there and you begin talking to some of our game teams, you can send in a demo, you can send in some screenshots, you can send in like a design doc, and we can connect you with the right people and you can have that conversation.
Cool. So your most successful game is Downstar.
Right now, regrettably, and this is going to change very soon, it is the only game that is actually live on the platform. Everything else is still in development. we have a game called Spider Tanks that is getting ready to have its full launch here quite soon. It is insanely fun. We have a few other games. I think we're aiming for 8 additional games by the end of the year, live on platform, and every single one of them is significantly more. It's a significantly more game type game than Townstar is.
Okay, just a side question for the Town Star.
Mhm.
What? How does it utilize the NFTs?
Uh,
So I saw you can buy different stuff.
yep.
Is there anything else that's working on the blockchain that we
The,
would find interesting?
the
Yeah,
content from Townstar is being served from the blockchain, and right now, or not from the blockchain, from our node network. It's not specifically the blockchain because again,
yeah,
Ethereum and
yeah.
content not a good mix. Um, but you can place the NFTs in game. They have various earning potentials. We're reworking some of the model for how that works because what we had released originally was an alpha sort of the play to earn. So we're making some refinements on that, and we'll be pushing that up before too terribly long. But yeah, that's the level of interaction that it has right now.
Cool.
And in the very near future, we're also having a right now the game itself is client authoritative. We're switching it over to a server authoritative model, which will make the everything quite a bit more robust.
Cool.
Still can't believe you guys can't hear that drilling. It's insane.
You must have good cancellation.
Yeah.
So let's talk a bit more about the actual token Gala. So you have it listed on
Sure.
quite a few exchanges. We just listed it very recently at NiceX, NiceHash exchange.
Ah.
So was it always about the games, or is there also some project or strategy when it comes to the token and making it attractive to investors or traders?
So I'm going to say a few things that may not be popular here. There's two answers to your question. Okay. We are a game development company. That is what we want to do. We want to see amazing games come into the world. We want to use blockchain as a means to bring those games to the world. So in that sense, we are very, very focused on the games. We're also a little bit focused on music now. We have an entirely separate team that's pushing in that direction. We are doing a lot of interesting things with the token, but those are all designed for the creation of a long-term stable ecosystem for the game development network. What they are not focused on is generating ROI for quote unquote investors or anything like that. Like it's not a if you would like to buy Gala, buy so because you believe that gaming is an amazing space and that you would like to be a part of the future of that, not because you're looking for short term, ROI on whatever it is that you're doing. And I have to be extremely public and candid about saying that. Like,
Yeah.
we're not interested in your return on quote unquote investment. Do not invest. Don't do that. Um, I know that sounds crazy, and I know that
That's awfully honest.
nobody says that. Nobody
Yeah,
and that's the thing
that's
is
a good thing
in
that you did that.
yeah, in the space, everybody's like, "Oh, well, buy our token because and no, don't do that. Like, if you would like to be a part of this with us, come be a part of it with us. We'd love to have you here. Do are we going to ever say that number go up? No, we're never going to ever say number go up. Okay, that's not how this actually works. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're lying and they're trying to get your money. We're here to build amazing stuff.
Yeah, buy it because you believe
Yeah,
in it
that's
and because
interesting.
you want to see the project grow.
There you go.
Yeah. So how are the tokens released? I saw that the circulating supply is very low compared to the total supply.
Yeah.
Why is that?
So the reason for that is that there's a chunk of the allocation. So tokens are released on a daily basis to founders nodes. Okay, and based on the action of the founders nodes. Right now, 50% of the release goes to founders nodes. 50% goes to a company allocation that gets split up in various different ways. All of that company side of things is locked and has never been touched since day one, and will be so for the foreseeable future, as far as I know. And so what you're seeing there, that circulating supply, is only what has been placed in the hands of the community as a whole. Right now, like I said, on a daily basis, 50% goes to the founders node operators themselves. For the first year, that was 75% that went to that company chunk, and 25 that went to the founders nodes. When I came in, one of my initiatives was to make those equal, and so that's where that imbalance is. And in the long run, I think you're going to see that it goes even further in the other direction. So the community ends up holding more.
Mm. What is founder's node?
The founders nodes are the nodes that you were asking about earlier.
Okay.
So they're the nodes that run the entire ecosystem.
So you mentioned earlier
Joe, do you have any other
about
question?
the Gala chain, which you're not calling the Gala chain. Is there a date for that
Right.
when it's coming out?
We are going through final testing right now. We actually have a game that we have created specifically for the purpose of stress testing this with the community at large. And so we're getting ready to push that out within the next couple weeks, I believe. And it will have integration with Project Geary, which everyone calls Project Gary because obviously they do. And so, yeah, in the next few weeks, you'll be able to see that. And then in the future, other games will be coming on. We're already working with Spider Tanks for the release, and we'll have that in it shortly after.
Awesome.
Cool.
So we were talking a little bit about Web3 as well. So it's a real buzzword right now. Everyone's talking about Web3. Where do you see that going, and where do you see Gala as a part of that?
I think Web3 is the inevitable evolution of the internet as a whole. Like, I think it's definitely going to go in that direction, because honestly, at the end of the day, it's that concept of decentralization and interoperability that is extremely important to the evolution of the space. If you look at the internet itself only took off once other people began to be able to build on it. Prior to that, it's this little tiny government thing used for research and whatnot, and that's fine for what it is. But I think that Web3 is the thing that gives ownership of the internet to people.
What do you think is the future of Gala? Where do you see yourself in like a couple of years?
Oh my God. Well, what I'll tell you is this: is that we've allocated $2 billion to game development over the next 12 months. $1 billion to the music industry, $1 billion to the film industry. And there's just a lot going on, and we're growing as quickly as we can hire people right now.
Crazy.
Like
those are crazy amounts.
Yes and no. They're look at it this way. I would say that the most popular blockchain game right now is I don't know if it is still right now, but it used to be Axie, right? How many users did Axie have at its peak? Probably
I see the point, yeah.
a couple 100,000 DAU, right? And that's because like everybody in the Philippines was playing. Like, it was very, very popular in that specific area, and there were guilds set up, and you used to see these like rooms where there'd be like people sitting in front of racks with like 50 cell phones on them, right? All, clicking and just doing this again and again and again. And, that's where blockchain gaming is today. Okay. But take something like Farmville. Okay. Farmville was probably one of the most popular games, for quite a while. Okay. What was Farmville's daily active user count at peak? At peak, Farmville's daily active user count was like 34 million users over the course of a day.
Wow.
Okay. And
Crazy.
it's just a totally different thing. And those 34 million users are 34 million people with their cell phones. There's nobody who plays that game, 5 times. Okay. Nobody's running a rack of 50 phones playing Farmville. We want to design and build gaming, for the blockchain at scale. There's like 3 billion gamers in the world. Okay. That's 3 billion people who should all own their own stuff. And when you look at that, you say, okay, well, if we build something for a game, okay, we build a game that appeals to 10% of that user base. I mean, right now in the free to play gaming space, people are paying, $70 or more an activation. Like what happens if you build a real game, an awesome game, a completely kick-ass game that, brings in 150, 200 million users. When you look at it, saying that we're going to spend $2 billion on game development, it's not that much. When you look at the actual total addressable
Look at the
market and what
numbers,
we're
yeah.
really doing, it's just huge. And so I think that that's actually one of the challenges that operating in the blockchain space has, is because people think very small, generally speaking. They're like, okay, well, we're building something for this elite group of geeks. You're not. You're building something for everybody, and that's
As as we talked before, like making things easy.
yeah, make it easy.
At first, of course, it's gonna be hard. Imagine like sending the first Bitcoin. I mean,
Right.
that was pretty hard, and now you can do it. I mean, it's way easier, and it's gonna get easier,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
And it's the same with what you're doing with providing infrastructure at first,
Yep.
and building on top of that.
Yep.
And once you manage to do this in a simple way, I think more and more gamers are going to join.
That is exactly right. I mean, think of the number of people who played the original Pong. How many people played Pong?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very, very, very few. I would say maybe a few thousand in the time that it was released. No, maybe a few tens of thousands. Okay. And certainly no numbers anywhere near what even a crappy app gets, right now. Just because gaming is part of our life and we're making it easier, and Gala Games is here to make it easier and to give you ownership of your in-game assets.
It's a pretty awesome project. We'll definitely be watching out for the games. So yeah,
awesome.
We have many of our customer base are gamers and miners, as you're probably well aware of. So finishing up, do you have any message you would like to send to our community, gamers and miners who are mining with NiceHash?
Come hang out, guys. Join our Discord at galagames.chat. It's a very different Discord than you've ever experienced. It is, very focused on gaming and on tech. We are kind of ruthlessly anti ROI conversation. So if you want to come in and talk about token prices, don't do that there, because it will get your ass banned. But we would definitely love to have you guys come and hang out and learn what we're doing. Check out the games. We're having play tests constantly. We're starting a new play test, but we're starting a new play test just this afternoon for a game called Superior. And and it's a first person rogue light shooter that's just super fun, developed by a very experienced team, who have made some of the best games that people have played over the last 20 years. And yeah, you should come hang out. You're gonna love it.
Awesome. Sounds really cool. Well, thank you very much for joining us today on Nice Talk. So we've been
My pleasure.
talking with our special guest, Jason Brink from Gala Games. Very happy to talk with you and to learn more about your project. So that's it for today. Remember to check out NiceHash. Go to our website. If you're a gamer, you've definitely got a decent PC. Go and download our quick miner and start earning some Bitcoin. See you all next time.
Thank you, guys.